let's be clear. Let's be clear. I don't care how long it takes, how long you've kept it in, how long you've, not told your story. Everyone deserves to tell their story and how a particular energy affected them. You can't take that away from a person. You can't take that away from a person. Something that I don't talk about very often is I was molested when I was younger. I was molested when I was younger, and it was by someone that I trusted, by an organization that I confided in. It's give the Lord your heart and the pastor your hand, and that was what I did. And one of the ministers there molested me. He molested me. I sang in the choir, and I was very young. I had to be 14. I had just turned 14 and was going to high school. I was going to high school, and I was so excited about this new, I'm grown. I was always lying about my age, trying to hang with the older kids, and they could never believe that I was younger. And so joining this choir was everything for me. Maybe a few months in, the director takes a liking to me. A little liking to me. I'm sitting singing. I'm a bunch of a whole bunch of light. I'm very expressionative when I'm entertaining and when I'm performing. And at that point in my life, it was a whole performance, and I was excited. One night he asked to take me home, and I said, yeah, it meant my mother not having to come and pick me up. I could stay out a little bit later. Great. That type of energy. It was another guy who sang in the choir. It was both of them, and he was going to drop both of us off. He kind of does a detour. He says he has to stop by his house. So I'm like, cool. I'm out. I'm 14, hanging with the older kids. Let's do it. We get to his house. He goes in the back. He has to do whatever he has to do. And me and the other guy, we're now talking. He was like, my friend like you. Carl, I know you. You know how when you find like-minded, you fag out. Like, Carl, let me tell you. So we sitting there. He says, my friend like you. I'm like, who? Like, the last person I'm thinking is the guy we're with. He's like old as hell. Like, what? So he did. And came from the back. He's like, yeah, I like you. You don't have to answer now. Just think about it. But, I wanted to put it out there. Everybody attracted to you. Everybody looking at you. And I wanted to put my bid in type of thing. So I'm like, okay, great. Now I'm nervous. Get home. I'm avoiding. At all means, let's avoid. I still want to sing in this choir, but let's avoid. We go to, at the church, we have a college tour. And we're going to Atlanta, and we're going to go on this college tour. We're on a college tour, and I didn't want to go. One day my mom was picking me up from church, and the director asked my mother, and now it's like, yeah, you need to go. And I'm like, damn, all right. So we go. We stayed a night in a hotel, and it was like maybe 6 or 7 of us in rooms. It was a bunch of us, but you know how you try to pack it in. We're packing it in. Everybody's on the floor, and a few of us are on the bed. Of course, the older people go to the bed, and I'm like, so I'm in the bed. I'm acting like I'm asleep, and this guy is holding me. Everyone's sleeping. This guy's holding me. I'm acting like I'm asleep, and I'm like, ugh. I stayed up the whole night. Finally, it's time to get up. We go eat breakfast. Now it's time to go. So now, I guess maybe because I didn't say anything or I didn't do anything at that point, he thought that it was okay. Now I become his. I have to sit with him. I have to, for the whole tour. Like I'm like, okay. We get back. every weekend, coming to pick me up. What should have been beautiful. Like, I was groomed to be a minister. Like, I came out the cootie cat with a Bible in one hand and a mic in the other. Like, let me tell you about the Lord. Hi, how old are you? 5. Can I tell you about the Lord? You know, that. And everybody, like, the kids hated me, y'all. God, the kids. Because they want to play Catch a Girl, Get a Girl. I want to play church. Y'all be the deacons. Y'all be the choir. I'm the preacher. It was inevitable for me to go to the pulpit. I mean, go straight there. And it was supposed to be that, or not. Now that I'm understanding the way time and energy works and the way God works, he'll just lead you right to it. And, okay. This went on for about now 2 years of every weekend we're together and picking me up and buying me this. And where'd you get that from? I'm working. I did start doing hair by that time. But, you know, my weekends, the time that I would be working is now there. So you kind of get trained to this is right. This is right. This is right. You can't tell anybody. And you hear the stories of people who tried to tell and they waited too late, or what. Like it's generations of that with, you know, the black. I'm not going to just put it on black, but with us, with people, we just hide that part. Just be quiet, girl. No, don't tell nobody that. You're going to shame the family. It was your uncle, but I know. Everybody's been through it, and it's like, okay. And so now, when does it stop? You know, when are you able to say it? Like, it's people, I'm a medium. And so I'm able to kind of interact with that side. And it's a lot of secrets, just stuff that just wasn't told. You thinking a person is dying with that because they had everything and they had nothing. Okay, stick a pin in that, because I'll go on and go on. Now so now this 2 years is now, it's going. I'm at the table with all of the best ministers. I'm learning everything that I need. It was like it was like a balance. Like I'll give you this and you give me that. It was like at 14, 15, you're not thinking about those things. You're just not, you know. And an adult should know. An adult should know. An adult should know. An adult should know. I see a lot of people in a day here at the shop, and a lot of kids, you know. And if one of those kids if one of those kids pulled their pants down and walked through this shop butt naked, it better not be one guy that I see or even think is thinking some funny shit about that. Because now that is going to be a problem for me. Like, for real. You know what I mean? I've healed myself. And so I've become that light for those who don't, like, I can't say it. It didn't happen. And then Spirit didn't show me my gifts. These cards and these charms and this water. Girl of water. Like, and I'm able to, like, show the truth. Like, no, this did happen. And it actually happened like this. Work. Like, I'm so grateful to be in a place of, he turned that negative. And I haven't gotten paid anything as it pertains to, I thought God had forgot about me. I had created a life around that. Like, when it was over, he got a church. He went to a church, and the way it was, like, shown to me was, like, in order to get that church, because everybody was looking like, why are they always, now it's been 2 years of them being together. We know type of thing. My aunts had a meeting. And with the pastor, it was all of us. With the pastor and he called me before we were having it. Like, yo, I'm about to come get you from school. He comes, gets me, tells the story. We come up with a story. I get there. I blame it all on me. It was my fault. I told my cousin that, you know, trying to get this, like, let me tell you what happened after that. Birthday comes and I lose everything. Like the choir, because I was directing now the choir. I took over the spot and I'm like, and this church was like, is a big church. Like, so now it's 150 people that this 15-year-old and doing it. Okay. Yes, spirit. Doing it. Drop the mic. Okay. And it was taken. It was taken. I was working for the church. Taken. Everything was taken. The learning, everything was taken. And so I was just stripped. And I created a world around that. Like, okay. Bump that. I couldn't tell anybody. What was I going to say? Who was going to believe me? And now at that point, everybody, like the whole church world, I should have left that situation and been in somebody's something. Like everybody, you knew this how I was directing that party. A friend of mine, I was talking to a friend a few months back, and he was telling me that they had a meeting, the pastor, and he had started working for the church through me, mind you, and said that they had a meeting. Like, I hope y'all not together because he's a liability. How is a 16-year-old a liability? And okay, you know what I mean? And so that story has never been told. That story has never been told. Nobody has ever said, nobody stuck up for me. Not even to this day, nobody stuck up for me. I put something on Instagram, and a lot of people viewed it, and it was a lot of talk around like me, like, wow, that happened. And it was like, yeah, that happened. Like, you wore that shit with a freaking smile, and I'm like, yes, I get it from my mom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, boom, like, what goes on here does not go out there. You put on your poker face. Just so happened what I was going through was hell. You know, that's hell. It's not the reason why I came out. I was liking boys. That right there was good. Yeah. I was liking boys. It wasn't even the reason why I liked the whole homosexual life. Like, I didn't experience that until later. Like, love. And having to adjust the way I even thought of love. I thought that was it. And then one day I was talking to a client. She was like, that's not your fault. And I'm like, what? And I kept going back to that space of, you know, it was right, and I was wrong, and and I probably would have still held it in if I didn't have a niece. My niece came, and if she ever felt like she couldn't come to one of us and say somebody was hurting her, that would bother her. Now that right there would tear me up. Like, nobody in my family, I haven't discussed even this with my family. Like, it was just, you know, just everybody be quiet, figure it out. And that, you know, that hurt. I turned to the world, and you know how that goes. And I'm not going to say turn into the world is bad, because it's not. It's not. I turned to the world unhealed. I feel healed. I feel like I can help someone. Like, that man is still preaching. He still has a church. I remember around that time, there was a little boy that his mom would come and drop him off at the church. And because he was working there, you know, he would make sure he ate and make sure she came back, and they got to wherever they were going. And he wound up adopting that kid. And that kid stayed. So, like, what if, all right, you too old, Ty. Let's get him, and nobody will think because he's my son. I wasn't, you know what I mean? And could you imagine now living through that in my head? I feel good. I feel good, and everywhere now I see, everywhere I go and I'm led to tell that story. It's like, baby, this is what he'll look like. And God gives you stuff for your troubles here, so that you can help another person. Like, I thought that I had went through that, and I had one friend that was like, let's exploit him. Hell no. Hell no, I'm not doing that. Why? I want you to know that if this ever happened, whatever it was, it runs rampant in the church, in the mosque, the wherever, all over, in homes and families. And if it happens to you, you can say it, or tell me and I'll say it, because you know I will. You know I will. I will never be silent ever again. I will never be silent ever again. Never. Never. I have to tell my story. I didn't go through that so that I could hold it in and get cancer. That would be giving them the... I love y'all. I love y'all so much.